welcome back to my channel. I'm Katerina, or Kat if you're new here. And today we are going to be doing a video that, as I've said in many videos in the past, is my favorite video to create, and that is a monthly reset video. As I've said in multiple of my past reset videos, these videos are a way for me to pretty much do an admin on my life. It's an opportunity to hit that reset button at the beginning of the month to set new goals for me to accomplish, to kind of look over my just life as a whole and see where there needs to be improvement. As I've stated in the past, usually how these videos go is I kind of give an introduction, talk a little bit about the past month, and then we go into the goals of that month, what I accomplished, what I didn't accomplish. We also talk about any of the books that I read in that month. I don't go in depth on the books that I read, but I do talk about them. And then we of course get into the next month and the goals that I'm planning, the books that I want to read. And then towards the end of the video, I always put in a little bit of like my finances, talking a little bit about what last month's finances were looking like and what I'm hoping to look at in the future for future finances. So strap down, guys, get a snack, get a drink, whatever you need, and let's get into this reset vlog. Alright, let's just give a quick monthly recap here. So the month of October was an interesting month. It was definitely had a lot of its ups and it had a lot of downs. There's some really big things that I accomplished that I'm very excited about and I will be talking about in this video. Also, we celebrated our daughter's 1-year birthday, which is absolutely insane to me that I've been a mother for a year. So that was another really happy, scary, bittersweet moment, an adjustment to our lives. We now have a toddler and she is definitely entering that what I like to call the toddler rage period of her life, where she's in such a fun stage, yet she has the sass of a toddler and she is showing that sass. And yeah, so we're dealing with that at the same time. Now let's talk about the goals that I set for October. I was actually able to accomplish all the goals on my list. So just to quickly highlight once again what the goals were. For YouTube, I wanted to find my rhythm with posting again, and I definitely did that. I really felt good about my posting rhythm this last month, so I am hoping to kind of continue that rhythm here. For reading, I wanted to read at least 2 books from my fall TBR video, and I did accomplish that. I think I actually ended up reading 3 books. Financially, I did some big things. So financially, I had as a goal to review all subscriptions and cancel at least one of them that we don't use very often, and I did do that. However, I also did a big financial move and I ended up actually paying off my car loan and one of my smaller student loans, and that was a very scary thing for me to do. And so after sitting down with my husband and going over numbers and everything, we decided that paying off my car loan and getting rid of a good chunk of my student loan was really important as a financial, as a step towards financial freedom. For relationship, plan one date night in and plan one date night out. That was wonderful. And then for personal, get my screen time to less than 3 hours. I think the last 2 weeks, my screen time summary came in, and I think for my phone, it was less than 2 hours, which I was really impressed with. So I'm definitely feeling really good about October. Let's talk about books read, because man, October was a really good month for reading as well. I don't know what it was. I don't know if I got my spark back for reading. I am not going to go into too big of detail about why I gave a star rating or why I didn't pick it up. I will be doing another video, my October monthly wrap up. So keep an eye out for that video. But I did pick up 9 books in the month of October. Let's start with the books that I planned on reading in the month of October. As you can see here, we have quite a few green check marks for the books that I planned on picking up in October. I did not get to the entanglement of Rival Wizards. I just didn't have the time to get it in. And then Road Trip with a Vampire I also didn't get in, which I was bummed about. However, I am going to be picking that up in the month of November, and it's going to be a buddy read with a good friend of mine. So all in all, I feel pretty good. Obviously, you can see that the ratings for most of the books were on the low side. However, I absolutely loved The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. And then I did end up picking up a few more books in the month of October. So there were 5 more books that I ended up picking up. 2 of them were DNFs. That is the most I've ever DNF'd. Usually, I maybe only DNF 1 or 2 books a year. This year, it's definitely been a little bit more. So I ended up DNFing The Baby Dragon Cafe at about 50%, and I ended up DNFing Looking for Group at about 70%, both of which I have a lot of feelings about, not really great ones, but I will talk about that in the monthly wrap-up video. but I did finish Dragonfall, Fangs, and the Pumpkinheads, all three of which were really fun to read in the month of October. I just love Fangs. If you haven't picked up that graphic novel, highly recommend it. But all in all, a really great reading month. Picking up 9 books and finishing 6 of them felt really good. I felt like myself again. Alright, so that was the month of October in a nutshell. Let us now get into November's goals. Under my YouTube category, we have continue consistent content creation. Once again, I'm really enjoying content. I'm really enjoying creating content. It's just been a fun time for me. My other goal is to try to do a few more reading vlogs. I do feel like this last month has been more sit-down vlogs than reading vlogs, so I do want to get in a few more reading vlogs. Then going into my reading goal for the month of November, I want to read at least 2 books from my ChatGPT video. If you haven't seen that, definitely go check it out. It's where I use ChatGPT to pick my November TBR. And then financially for the rest of the year, I'm just going to continue to watch what I spend and continue to pay down any debt that I currently have. I still have a student loan debt as well as a mortgage. And then under relationship, and I added a slash to this one, relation/motherhood. I have 2 goals for this one. It is try new indoor activities with O. We are going into the winter season, meaning there's going to be a lot of snow and there isn't really much to do outside. So I do want to find a few more indoor activities. And then I want to start a family holiday tradition. And then for personal goals, I want to accomplish a few of my 101 goals in 1001 days. So if you haven't heard of that, pretty much it's like a bucket list where you create a bucket list under different categories, and specifically you create a bucket list of 101 things under different categories, and you need to finish it within 1001 days. So I ended up starting mine at the beginning of this year in 2025, and so I do have until 2027 to complete a lot of the goals. I've completed so far around 25 different tasks. So if you haven't looked up the 101 things to do in 1001 days, definitely recommend looking up that kind of challenge. So those are my November goals. Still keeping my goals very simplistic, very manageable. Now then, let's talk about the books that I am planning on reading in the month of November. Once again, if you have not gone and checked out my last video, I did a video where I used ChatGPT to choose the books I read in the month of November. So here are the books that I am hoping to read in the month of November. We have The House Staffer by Marissa Meyer. This is a new release that is coming out in the month of November. One that I actually haven't heard much about. I think it's an adult romantasy. It's been labeled as a romantasy, and it is also a retelling and a murder mystery. So that one sounds really interesting. Then we have The Bear and the Nightingale. This was the winter prompt that I asked. We also have The 10,000 Doors of January. This is another one that's been on my list, or on the back burner of my lists. Then we have The Encyclopedia of Fairies. This is one that if you've seen my past videos, I have picked this book up from the library so many times and have yet to read it. So this is the month where I'm hopefully going to read it. Then we have The Secret History by Donna Tartt, another one that's made its way to the TBR list quite a few times, but I haven't picked it up, and I need to because ChatGPT said so. Then we have The Empire of the Damned by Jay Kristoff, because Empire of the Dawn is going to be coming out soon. And then of course we have Road Trip with a Vampire, which is going to be a buddy read with a friend of mine. So very excited about that one. I think this month is going to be a really good reading month. Alright, so those are the plans for November, as well as the books that I'm hoping to read in November. Here's another thing that I am hoping for in November. It's not something that's set in stone yet, but it's something that I'm looking at, and because of the fact that the holiday season is coming. And with the holiday season comes Vlogmas and Bookmas. And I am dabbling with some ideas of whether I'm going to be doing Bookmas this year or not. I've never done it before. I always get really scared away because it's a lot of content creation. It's a lot of time into videos and thinking about the content, what I'm wanting to create. But I am kind of starting mapping out, potentially, if I do this, what is this going to look like? What is the posting schedule going to look like? Is this manageable as a full-time mother that also works full-time and still trying to get in quality reading time? Moving on from November and the whole planning of November, let's get into the financial aspect. So I'm going to give a quick overview of October, and then we'll go into the plans for November. As you can see, I did, first of all, if you checked out my last video, I did change the template that I'm using. I needed something a little bit more in detail. As you can see, in the month of October, definitely there were some expenses that went way over. As I said, in the month of October, I paid off not only my car loan, which is now completely gone, I also paid off a huge chunk of my student loans. It definitely messed up the expenses quite a bit, but it's also put me a step closer to financial freedom. But then variable expenses. So groceries were around that $300 mark. Fuel was a little bit over. Dining out, we ended up having a birthdays. So even though I had that set at $0, it was around $60. So for gifts, I did go a little bit over, but that's because of the fact that for my daughter's birthday, I also included the cupcakes and the decorations into that. Home repairs, we had a little hiccup with our thermostat, so we had to pay for that. But the biggest one that you can see that is way off is pet care. And that was because my cat ended up having, we don't even know, a medical emergency where I had to bring her in because she was having seizures and she was sick and it was getting worse. And so that bill ended up actually being around $400. I didn't account for, there was another $70 some in cat medicine. So that was actually around $440 some. Also in the month of October, we had to pay a little bit more in childcare, as well as our property tax was due. So there was a lot more expenses. October was financially a little bit crazy of a month. However, everything was doable. Now let's quickly talk about what November is going to look like. So for November, once again, most of these items are going to stay the same. Fuel, I did update to $80. Dining out, I did update. I just put that in because I feel like we do go out once a month, that I think it's important that I do put in something for dining out. Entertainment, I did put in a little bit more for entertainment just because we're starting to try to find indoor activities for our daughter, and unfortunately most of indoor activities in our area costs money. For gifts, I did put this one up to $100 because it is my husband's birthday. Those are the finances. Definitely happy to have my car loan gone from it, as well as one of my student loans, because that also dropped my student loan payment. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely let me know in the comments below what books you're planning to read in the month of November, or if there are any, really fun goals that you're hoping to accomplish in the month of November. Definitely let me know. Or let me know in the comments below, once again, if there are any Bookmas videos that you really want to see me do. I would love the ideas. Any idea is more than welcome because I have a lot to plan if I'm going to be doing that. So I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye.